Welcome to Ward's Auto, and we are back with another discussion about the Ward's 10 Best Engines competition for 2015. And we've already talked about EVs and hybrids. Now we're going to move on to the diesels. This year in the competition, we have 6 diesels that we are evaluating. We have the new Volkswagen Golf TDI, which is a 2-liter. We also have the Cruise diesel, which is the returning winner from last year. Again, that's a 2-liter. Another returning winner was the 3-liter BMW X5. And then also from the Ram 1500, that's another returning winner, 3-liter V6. And then rounding out the field is the 3.2-liter diesel 5-cylinder that's in the Ford Transit van, which is kind of interesting because I really thought we should evaluate the Transit because, yes, it's actually classified a heavy-duty vehicle, but to me, it's so much in line with the Ram 1500, and of course, the Ram 1500 is light duty, but it's got a very similar diesel engine compared to the Transit. So, and it's a little hard to evaluate the Transit being such a big vehicle, but. Byron and I like the Transit quite a bit. We've driven it, and we think the 3.2-liter is pretty darn competitive, especially in a vehicle so large that you could probably haul 10 refrigerators.
It's a huge vehicle, and that thing just pulls it with ease. And I got 19.1 miles per gallon, which is decent. I mean, I still like to drive it with a load. Yeah. Now you experienced that to a degree.
Couple of times, yeah. 17 miles per gallon, loaded down pretty well. Is that's not that difficult.
It's impressive pulling a vehicle. I don't know if you guys have seen the van, but it's a big van, and this thing it does no problem with it at all.
So based on our experience with the Ram 1500 last year, of course, we're going to drive the 1500 this year up against the Transit. Any comparing and contrasting?
I think it goes against it very well. I think a lot of the same traits it possesses are, both of the vehicles have. I mean, it's quiet, it's efficient, fuel efficient. There's not a lot of diesel chatter, and it gets the job done. And you really don't, there's no sacrifices to be made for having a diesel under there.
Yeah, I think what I recalled, and I haven't been in the Ram yet this year, but what I recalled from last year was it is so quiet. I mean, it's like BMW quiet as a diesel, and in the Transit, it's a work truck.
Yeah.
So I just got the sense that they didn't have the same level of NVH. They couldn't encapsulate everything as cleanly and as completely as they did with the Ram. But anyway, we'll be driving the Ram shortly and be able to do a better comparison.
See how they stack up. Yep.
Yeah. So another returning winner, of course, the BMW, the 3-liter. This is the N57 engine that we drove it last year in the
5 Series?
5 Series, yeah. And now we're driving it in the X5. This is the all-new re-engineered X5, 7-passenger, big CUV. Of course, the X5 has had a diesel for a number of years and has done quite well. I think the take rate has been fairly high.
On the X5, I think it's like 30% or something. Yeah.
So I mean, we were driving it the other day, 24 miles per gallon in a big vehicle like that, and you don't know it's a diesel. You can't tell. You'd have to really, really pay close attention to know.
Except when you fill up at a pump, and it cost me, I think, $60 from a.
It does, but you're going to fill up less often too.
And then this morning, it was 11 degrees this morning.
Did you drive it?
And I was in it this morning.
So how did it sound?
So when you first fire it up, you get a little bit more chatter or clatter or whatever you want to call it from those injectors. But the night before when I got in it to take it home, great NVH, and like you said, the big thing you take away from that is getting 24, 25 miles to the gallon, and that being such a big vehicle.
It's a heavy
and heavy.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing is a tank, and it's just a stump puller. It's really fun to drive.
Well, you get tons of torque, and in Europe, nobody thinks twice about a diesel engine in $100,000 vehicles. There's no discussion or concern about it. Here in the U.S., we still have to convince people. No,
Well, you have to do a lot more convincing now that gas prices are dropping so much. I mean, you're starting to lose that balance that diesels have with their increased mileage.
Except on these vehicles, you're going to be comparing it to premium, which premium's still about $3.50 a gallon. So I mean, it's
that's a good point.
Right.
It's not a big, and when you're looking at 5 Series. I don't think you're looking
Yeah,
at
you're not counting
these
pennies.
days.
Yeah, you're right.
So last year, the 5 Series did pretty well in terms of fuel economy. It was certainly higher than 24 miles per
Yeah.
gallon. How do you see that weighing on the judges this year, where the X5 fuel economy is lower than what we did last year?
It's a bigger
Granted,
vehicle.
it's a bigger vehicle, and it's certainly more functional. But
Yeah, I mean, I think we smart enough to take that into consideration. I think.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, you have to. I'd expect it to be
Yeah.
less fuel efficient. I mean, just because of the size.
And let's compare it to other vehicles of similar weight and size. You know, and
So let's move down the market into the compact segment, where the Cruze made some news last year, where Chevy was entering the diesel market. They did quite well with the Cruze, and of course last year when we had that engine for the first time, it went up against BMW and it went up against Mercedes, also in the 4-cylinder diesel segment, and the Cruze prevailed. For a couple of reasons. Cost was a huge one, and the fuel economy was excellent, and we didn't find that the NVH was much worse in with the Cruze when compared to a Mercedes-Benz and a BMW. So we thought that Chevy was really onto something. This year's a little different, though. We're going up against the Cruze is going up against the Volkswagen TDI Golf.
king of diesels.
Yeah,
But
the king of the diesel. I mean, this is going to be an interesting battle.
I thought they did some work on NVH in the Cruze. It seemed quieter to me than it did last year. They must have, I mean, maybe it was just the weather, the temperatures we drove it in, because it was rather mild when I had it, but I still really like the Cruze diesel. It's quiet, it's efficient. I mean, it's hard to get poor fuel economy in that car no matter how you drive it. So I think they did a good job, and for the price, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, they did some work in the radiator housing, right, to clear up a little bit of NVH.
Yeah.
And you can't, good work, GM. That's constant. That's constant improvement that you have to do on a diesel as the NVH. But again, it's got that 264 pound-foot of torque in it. It's got the overboost feature that gives you a little more torque for 10 seconds. So it's really fun to drive. You get some improved NVH, and you're still, I was getting 32, 33 miles of the gallon, just puts it around the city. So very good package.
Yeah, and last year I drove it, no nonsense, got 46.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an incredible
MPG
number.
on that, I mean, that's
good stuff.
unlike a lot of the numbers we see, that's a diesel, pretty much all the diesels, they really.
They beat what the EPA figures say.
But they need to market that vehicle more.
Yeah,
They need to get behind that vehicle more and move more units of those, because that thing's not selling right now.
Yeah. Well, but to your point, if you have a long haul commute lifestyle, that is the car for you.
Very much so.
But I will say our fuel economy this year has not been as good as it was last year on the Cruze. If you recall, people were looking at the low 30s or something, but it seemed to me last year our average was somewhere around 36, 37 miles per gallon in the Cruze, and that was the overall staff average. I think that was better than what we've done this year so far in the Cruze.
Yeah, it might be a little different driving mix.
Could be. And then, so I still haven't driven the Volkswagen TDI yet. I think some of you have. What can you say about how the TDI stacks up to the Cruze?
Yeah, the TDI is an all-new engine. It's part of this new, it's updated engine.
288, I think it is.
And I think my issue there was my expectations were maybe a little too high on it. I mean, it's an impressive vehicle, but it's a little bit. A little less, the step off on it is not quite as strong as I was expecting it to be. I guess I was a little less impressed with it than I was expecting to be.
I really liked it, and I got 39.6 miles to the gallon.
Oh yeah.
And that was during a lot of city driving.
Yeah.
So I mean, combined, but that's impressive.
That's a good number.
mean, yeah, and there's a little clatter in the cold start, but nothing to concern yourself with, not even a minor annoyance. And getting that kind of fuel economy, I mean, you can't beat it. It's better than what I got in the Cruze. It's one of the best I've got in this whole competition in any vehicle.
Yeah, well, it's in, and then I guess I was expecting a bigger. I mean, the previous version was very good too, and so I guess I was expecting a little bit more of a jump than that. But it does have it's also got the new. It's got SCR in it now, right?
It does.
That's a pretty big improvement, I guess, from an emissions standpoint.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's a great engine. I guess I was just expecting a little bit bigger leap for it.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to wrap up this discussion on diesel, but come back to wardsauto.com and you'll see lots of stories about the 10 best engines and also other videos. Thank you.